mold, clutter, and a broken AC? Oh my! How do you sell a disaster probate house in Georgia? Let's talk about that. Is there mold in the bathroom, clutter everywhere, and the AC doesn't even work? And now you're the administrator or the executor of an estate going through probate, and you have to sell the house, but it feels like a total disaster. This video is for you. Let's talk about what actually matters and what doesn't. When someone passes away, the house often reflects the last season of their life. Maintenance may have been deferred because they didn't have any money or weren't physically or mentally able to handle it. Repairs get postponed, things pile up, and now you're standing there thinking, no one's going to want to buy this. But here's the truth. The buyers don't expect perfection in probate properties. They actually expect condition to match price. And price always overcomes condition. So let's break down some of the biggest concerns that I hear. Mold. This one makes everyone panic. But we need to separate surface mold from structural mold. Surface mold in bathrooms, around windows, or under sinks can be common in older homes, especially if there was a leak that has been fixed. It doesn't automatically mean the house is unsellable. However, active leaks and widespread moisture issues do need attention. If there's a roof leak, or if there's some kind of plumbing damage going on, then you may need to fix the leak. Go ahead and remediate the affected area, or at minimum, get a professional opinion so you know exactly what you're dealing with. The mistake is ignoring it completely or assuming it requires a massive renovation before you even get the information. Often, it's more manageable than people think. I actually worked with a probate property that had visual mold, and the seller did not fix it because she did not have funds to do so. So we disclosed it, and we told every showing agent that there was a roof leak and that mold was present and to take precautions. We priced it correctly, and we found the right buyer who was willing to handle the mold situation. If you're not repairing a hole in the roof immediately, at the very least, put a tarp on it so it doesn't worsen. But mold alone doesn't automatically kill the deal. Clutter. Probate houses are often full of furniture, full of personal belongings, full of memories. Sometimes we even have what we call a trail house, where there's literally a path from room to room because there's so much stuff has accumulated. But here's the good news. You do not have to remove every single item before you list. A buyer needs to be able to visualize this space. So clear out the pathways, clean the countertops, no stacked boxes or items in the corner. I often tell clients, I do not care if you stack the garage high with boxes, so long as the main living areas feel open and walkable. Buyers need to see the house, not the contents. You can stage lightly and store temporarily, or plan to remove everything between the contract and closing. I understand this part can be emotional, but we have a solution. There are these people called senior move managers who specialize in helping families decide what gets passed down, what gets kept, and what realistically needs to go. Clutter can feel overwhelming emotionally, but strategically, it's one of the easiest issues to solve. And if you need time to process letting things go, then just take that time. This process is not easy. Broken HVAC. Now let's talk about the heating and HVAC system. In Georgia, this one matters. Most buyers will tolerate outdated finishes, but they will not tolerate no air conditioning in July. If the system is completely dead, you have two options. Either replace it or price it accordingly and disclose clearly that it doesn't work. If you don't have the funds, then pricing it correctly based on condition might be your only route. Another option I've actually used is to pay at close. You find an HVAC company that installs the system, and then when the house closes, they get paid through the proceeds at the closing. This is one way that if you don't have money, but you have a lot of equity, that you can solve this problem. And of course, you will definitely need enough equity for that to work. I sold a probate home with a broken AC. We found a vendor that was willing to do a pay at close. We actually went under FHA, so we had it installed right before the appraisal process came around, so we made it work. So solutions exist. Even if the rest of the home is priced correctly, show ready, even a non-working AC does not automatically kill the deal. It simply narrows down your buyer pool, and often that still leaves multiple buyers out there to see the house. So let's dive into what actually matters. In a probate disaster house, here's what truly matters. Structural soundness, roof life, major system components working, a clear title, and proper probate authority to sell. Cosmetics matter far less than what most administrators or executors think. Here's some of the biggest mistakes I see. Panic selling to the first investor who knocks on the door. You see, probate filings are public record, and investors know when estates are overwhelmed. You're grieving, you're clearing out your belongings, you're navigating court paperwork. It's overwhelming, and many investors will reach out and contact you, and many investors' contracts are structured to protect their profit and not your equity. Yes, selling directly is easy, but it will often cost you money. And if you hang in there and you get the house show ready, even with deferred maintenance, you will often protect a significant amount more of the equity if you take it to the open market. You see, the open market creates competition, and competition protects the estate's equity. Now, as a real estate agent, I am not closed-minded to the point that if an executor is dealing with some health issues, or there is no cash in the estate, or they physically cannot manage to prep the house for ready to showing, then exposing it to the investor route might make sense. But at the very least, work with an agent who has investor connections and can protect you contractually. Don't negotiate directly without representation. Real estate agents can make sure you're protected through that process, even though you're not taking it to the open market. Well, with all this being said, probate authority matters. So before preparing the home for sale, you need to know, do I have letters of testamentary or letters of administration? Is the leave to sell waived? We've done some videos on what leave to sell is all about. If it's not waived, you can still list, but the timeline and pricing must reflect that. You need a buyer who's going to be willing to wait through court approval. And if there's no cash in the estate, repairs, sometimes the strategy is just to secure the property, clean it out, and price aggressively. Take it to the open market properly. Again, price overcomes condition, even with a mold, clutter, and a broken AC. So if you've inherited what feels like a disaster house, you are not alone. Most probate homes are not perfect. The goal is not perfection. The goal is protecting the estate and maximizing the value based on condition. If you would like help with evaluating your property in Georgia, reach out. And if I'm not in your area, because I'm primarily in the Atlanta area, I'll get you connected with another agent who specializes in probate. Having an agent who specializes in probate is important. There's extra classes you have to go through to specialize in this. And it will make all the difference in the world in your transaction if your agent understands the probate process. Not all agents do. If you are going through probate right now, comment below and tell me your biggest issue with your house. And I'm happy to interact. I hope to see y'all next time. Bye.